the kind to wear a tie. Button up from 9 to 5. I tried that life but said goodbye. I'm not always polite, but I get the job done. Who says the world can never be fun? I'm simply unprofessional. Simply unprofessional. Yeah. Unprofessional. Yeah. Unprofessional.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Simply Unprofessional. I'm your host, Webby. Joining me tonight, we got Rob.
Hey guys, it's Rob.
And we got Donnie.
Hello.
And we have Apple again.
Hey guys, it's Apple.
And you guys probably all heard Matilda barking during the intro music because she
I didn't
doesn't
hear it.
give a fuck. I heard it. I heard her barking, and then I saw my microphone little thing jump up every time she barked. So I'm just assuming that the listeners will hear it now.
What
the intro
what better
music's pretty
sound
loud.
could they hear?
True.
I mean, what's better than hearing Till eat?
Listen, I have told that mouthy bitch time and time again she could talk to the outro, not the intro.
Was she singing along?
Oh, she's not that happy. All right, so this week, everybody, we're going to continue our ranking systems of these D&D subclasses. We've been on quite the D&D kick, though I do have 2 movies for us to watch at some point now. But this week, we're going to be talking about the homebrewed class called the Blood Hunter, made by Matt Mercer.
Who's that? Sarcasm.
Listen here.
Oh yeah, weren't we supposed to do an episode on the Adam Project? Wasn't that a request?
That was one of the requests. Yep.
Okay.
Then Velocipaster's another one that I want to do.
I was gonna say I doubt anyone requested that.
That's just me. But, yeah.
Oh goddamn, Velocipaster.
The Adam Project was requested, which me and Rob sat down and watched, and I liked it. I thought it was good. So, I got a random chunk on my... Anyway, Blood Hunter, folks. I gotta write down these on my note cards. I'm very old school. Sorry. I should have done this beforehand. Devin's been putting them all into his computer, so he has them in like a Word document. Blood Hunter. So while I'm writing this down, why don't we start off like we do every class, and Rob, you can say, you can tell all the people all the stuff that the Blood Hunter as a class gets.
Okay. So, just being a Blood Hunter, you get a D10 hit die. You get proficiency in light armor, medium armor, and shields, simple weapons and martial weapons, alchemist supplies, and for saving throws, you get dexterity and intelligence. Skills, you get to choose 3 from acrobatics, arcana, athletics, history, insight, investigation, religion, and survival. At first level, you get an ability called Hunter's Bane. You have survived the Hunter's Bane, a dangerous long-guarded ritual that alters your life's blood, forever binding you to the darkness and honing your senses against it. I should explain before I go on that the Blood Hunter class is basically a class that was created. You're basically like a monster hunter who has taken on curses and uses blood magic to fight monsters. So anyway, back to this. The Hunter's Bane is a dangerous long-guarded ritual that alters your lifeblood forever, binding you to the darkness and honing your senses against it. You have advantage on survival checks to track Fae, fiends, or undead, as well as on intelligence checks to recall information about such creatures. The Hunter's Bane also empowers your body to control and shape hemocraft magic, using your own blood and life essence to fuel your abilities. Some of your features require your target to make a saving throw to resist the feature's effects. This DC is calculated as follows: 8 plus your proficiency bonus plus your hemocraft modifier. Your choice between intelligence or wisdom. At first level, you also get Blood Maledict. You gain the ability to channel or sometimes sacrifice a part of your vital essence to curse and manipulate creatures through hemocraft magic. One blood curse of your choice detailed in the blood curses section at the end of this class description. You learn one additional blood curse of your choice at 6th, 10th, 14th, and 18th level. Each time you learn a new blood curse, you can also choose one of the blood curses you already know and replace it with another blood curse. Each time you use Blood Maledict feature, you choose which curse to invoke from your curses you know. While invoking a blood curse, but before it affects the target, you can choose to amplify the curse by taking necrotic damage equal to one roll of your Hemocraft die. This damage can't be reduced in any way. An amplified curse gains an additional effect noted in the curse's description. Creatures that do not have blood are immune to blood curses unless you have amplified the curse. Once you use this feature, you must finish a short or long rest before you can use it again. You can use Blood Maledict twice between rests starting at 6th level, 3 times starting at 13th level, and 4 times starting at 17th level. At 2nd level, you choose a fighting style. You adopt a fighting style that is your specialty. Choose one of the following options. You can't take a fighting style option more than once, even if you later get to choose again. So you get most of these are the same ones that you get fighter, but you get less choices. So you can do archery. You gain a +2 attack bonus to attack rolls you make with ranged weapons. Dueling, when you are wielding a melee weapon in one hand and no other weapons, you gain a +2 bonus to damage rolls with that weapon. Great Weapon Fighter, when you roll a 1 or a 2 on damage die for an attack you make with a melee weapon that you are wielding with 2 hands, you can re-roll the die and must use the new roll. The weapon must have a 2-handed or versatile property for you to gain this benefit. Or 2-weapon fighting. When you engage in 2-weapon fighting, you can add your ability modifier to the damage of the second attack. Also at 2nd level, you gain a Crimson Rite. You learn to invoke the Rite of Hemocraft and infuse your weapon strikes with elemental energy. As a bonus action, you can activate any Rite you know on the one weapon you're holding. The effect of the Rite lasts until you finish a short or long rest. When you activate a Rite, you take necrotic damage equal to one of your Hemocraft's die. This damage can't be reduced in any way. While the Rite is in effect, attacks you make with this weapon are magical and deal extra damage equal to your Hemocraft die of one type, determined by the Rite chosen. The weapon can hold only one active Rite at a time. Other creatures can't gain the benefit of your Rites. If you choose one Rite from the Crimson Rites below when you gain this feature, you learn an additional Rite at 7th and again at 14th. So you can pick the Rite of the Flame. It does extra fire damage. The Rite of the Frozen does cold damage. The Rite of the Storm does lightning damage. And then you have to have 14th level to pick one of these other 3. Rite of the Dead deals necrotic damage. Rite of the Oracle deals psychic damage. And Rite of the Roar deals thunder damage. At 3rd level, you choose a Blood Hunter order, which are what we're going to be ranking today. Order of the Ghostlader, Order of the Lycan, Order of the Mutant, or Order of the Profane Soul. You get ability score improvements at 4th level, 8th level, 12th, 16th, and 19th. At 5th level, you gain extra attack. At 6th level, you gain a Brand of Castigation. When you damage a creature with a weapon for the first time, when you damage a creature with a weapon for which you have activated one of your Crimson Rites, you can channel Hemocraft magic to sear an arcane brand into that creature. No action required. You always know the direction your branded creature is in, as long as it's on the same plane as you. Furthermore, each time the branded creature deals damage to you or a creature you can see within 5 feet of you, the branded creature takes psychic damage equal to your Hemocraft modifier, minimum of 1. Your brand lasts until you dismiss it, or until you use this feature to apply a brand to another creature. Your brand can be dispelled with Dispel Magic, and is treated as a spell with a level equal to half your Blood Hunter level. Once you use this feature, you cannot use it again until you finish a short or long rest. At 9th level, you gain Grim Psychometry. Psychometry. At 9th level, you gain the supernatural talent for discerning the secrets surrounding mysterious relics or places touched by evil. Whenever you make a history check to recall information about a sinister or tragic history of an object you are touching or your current location, you have advantage on that check. At the DM's discretion, a suitably high roll might cause your character to experience brief visions of the past connected to the object or location. At 10th level, you get Dark Augmentation. Magic of Hemocraft secures your body and permanently reinforces your resilience. Your speed increases by 5 feet, and you have a bonus to Strength, Dexterity, and Constitution saving throws equal to your Hemocraft modifier, minimum of 1. At 13th level, you gain Brand of Tethering. The psychic damage from your Brand of Castigation increases to twice your Hemocraft modifier, minimum of 2. Additionally, a branded creature can't take the dash action, and if it attempts to teleport or leave its current plane by any means, it takes 46 psychic damage and must make a wisdom saving throw. On a failure, the attempt to teleport or leave the plane fails. At 14th level, you gain Hardened Soul. You have advantage on saving throws against being charmed and frightened. And at 20th, you gain Sanguine Mastery. Upon reaching 20th level, your mastery of blood magic reaches its height, mitigating your sacrifice and empowering your experience. Once per turn, whenever a Blood Hunter feature requires you to roll a Hemocraft die, you can re-roll the die and use either roll. Additionally, whenever you score a critical hit with a weapon for which you have a Crimson Rite active, you regain 1 expended use of your Blood Maledict feature. And the Blood Curses you can choose at the different levels that we covered. Blood Curse of the Anxious. As a bonus action, you harry the body and mind of a creature within 30 feet of you, making them susceptible to forceful influence. At the end of your turn, intimidation checks made against a creature have advantage. If you amplify that with your blood magic, the next wisdom saving throw the creature makes before the curse ends has disadvantage. Blood Curse of Binding. As a bonus action, you attempt to bind a large or smaller creature that you can see within 30 feet of you, which must make a strength saving throw. On a failure, the cursed creature's speed is reduced to 0 and it can't use reactions until the end of its next turn. If you amplify it with your blood magic, this curse lasts for 1 minute and can affect any creature regardless of size. The cursed creature can repeat the saving throw at the end of each of its turn, expending the curse on itself on a success. Blood Curse of Bloated Agony. As a bonus action, you curse a creature that you can see within 30 feet, causing the body to swell until the end of the next turn. For the duration, the creature has disadvantage on strength checks and dexterity checks and takes 1d8 necrotic damage if it makes more than 1 attack during its turn. You can amplify this with blood magic. The curse lasts for 1 minute. The cursed creature can make a Constitution saving throw at the end of each of its turns, ending the curse on its success. Blood Curse of Corrosion. Sorry. As a bonus action, you cause a creature within 30 feet of you to become poisoned. The cursed creature can make a Constitution saving throw at the end of each of its turns, ending the curse on a success. Amplified with blood magic, the cursed creature takes 46 necrotic damage when you inflict this curse, and it takes its damage again each time it fails its Constitution saving throw to end the curse.
Jeez.
It has a 15th level prerequisite, I should say. Blood Curse of the Exorcist, which is also 15th level, and you have to be Order of the Ghost Slayer. And that previous one you had to be Order of the Mutant. Prerequisite 15th level Order of the Ghost Slayer. As a bonus action, you can choose one creature you can see within 30 feet of you that is charmed or frightened, or which is under a possession effect. The creature is no longer charmed, frightened, or possessed. If you amplify it with blood magic, the creature that charmed, frightened, or possessed the target of your curse takes 3d6 psychic damage and must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or become stunned until the end of your next turn. Blood Curse of Exposure. When a creature you can see within 30 feet of you takes damage from an attack or spell, you can use your reaction to temporarily weaken its resilience. Till the end of the target's next turn, it loses resistance to all damage types dealt by the triggering attack or spell, including for the triggering effect. You can amplify this with blood magic. Target loses invulnerability to those damage types of the triggering attack and spell, but has resistance to those damage types until the end of its next turn. Blood Curse of the Eyeless. When a creature you can see within 30 feet of you makes an attack roll, you can use your reaction to roll 1 Hemocraft die and subtract that number rolled from the creature's attack roll. You can choose to use this feature after a creature's roll, but before the DM determines whether the attack hits or misses. The creature is immune to this curse if it is immune to the blind condition. Amplify it with blood magic. You apply this curse to all the creature's attack rolls until the end of that creature's turn. You roll separately for each affected attack. Blood Curse of the Fallen Puppet, which is my favorite that I used on Brenda twice, I think. When a creature you can see within 30 feet of you drops 0 hit points, you can use your reaction to instill that creature with 1 final act of aggression. The creature immediately makes 1 weapon attack against a target of its choice within range. If you amplify it with blood magic, you can first cause the cursed creature to move up to half its speed, and you grant a bonus to the attack roll equal to your Hemocraft modifier minimum of 1. Blood Curse of the Howl. Prerequisite 18th level Order of the Lycan. As an action, you unleash a blood-curdling howl. Each creature within 30 feet of you that can hear you must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or become frightened of you until the end of your next turn. Creature fails its throw by more than 5. It is stunned while frightened in this way. A creature that succeeds on a saving throw is immune to the blood curse for the next 24 hours. You can choose any number of creatures you can see to be unaffected by the howl. To amplify it with blood magic, the range of this curse increases to 60 feet instead of 30. Blood Curse of the Marked. As a bonus action, you mark a creature that you can see within 30 feet of you. Until the end of your turn, whenever you hit this cursed creature with a weapon for which you have an active Crimson Right, you roll an additional Hemocraft die when determining the extra damage from the right. Amplified with blood magic, the next attack roll you make against the target before the end of your turn has advantage. Blood Curse of the Muddled Mind. As a bonus action, you curse a creature that you can see within 30 feet of you that is concentrating on a spell or using a feature that requires concentration. That creature has disadvantage on the next Constitution saving throw it makes to maintain a concentration before the end of your next turn. Amplified with blood magic, the cursed creature has disadvantages on all Constitution saving throws made to maintain concentration until the end of your next turn. And finally, Blood Curse of the Soul Eater. Prerequisite 18th level Order of the Profane Soul. When a creature that isn't a construct or undead is reduced to 0 hit points within 30 feet of you, you can use your reaction to offer their life energy to your patron in exchange for power. Until the end of your next turn, you make attacks with advantage, and you have resistance to all damage. Amplified with blood magic. Additionally, you regain an expended warlock spell slot. Once you amplify this blood curse, you must finish a long rest before you can amplify it again.
Alrighty. I will say
So-
some of these abilities, not necessarily the blood curses themselves, but like which one was it? The Brand of Tethering that you read for 13th level?
Mhm.
That's crazy because like it's what is it, an action to do that?
I don't think it takes an action. You have to hit them with your weapon, and then you can brand them.
Oh yeah, and it has to have a Crimson Right active.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love the fact that it does the 4d6 damage and then they have to make the wisdom save, which this class seems like it has ways of forcing disadvantage, like one of your blood curses can force disadvantage on wisdom saves. And if they fail, it's just like, well, that teleport just doesn't work. You know, the enemy who's trying to plane shift away from the party just can't plane shift now.
Yep. I mean, thematically, it's very works because it's supposed to be their monster hunters. It's like
Right.
you can't let the monster get away.
Yeah. Tilly's been jumping at the door.
Nonsense.
No, I told you. I mean, she lasted longer than 5 minutes at least. All right, so we're going to go into the orders of the Blood Hunters, starting with the Order of the Ghost Slayer. Donnie, why don't you read the first one? If you were there. And not muted.
I forgot. Yeah, I forgot I was muted.
You're good.
Just the mechanic parts. Are we reading?
Yeah, you don't have to read the beginning snippet thing.
Okay. Order of Ghost Slayer. Rite of the Dawn. When you join this order at 3rd level, you learn the Rite of the Dawn as part of your Crimson Right feature. When you activate the Rite of the Dawn, the extra damage dealt by your Rite is radiant damage. Additionally, while that Rite is active on your weapon, you gain the following benefits. Your weapon sheds bright light out to a range of 20 feet. You have resistance to necrotic damage. When you hit an undead creature with a weapon for which the Rite of Dawn is active, you roll an additional Hemocraft die when determining the extra damage for this Rite. Also at 3rd level, Curse Specialist. You learn to master blood curses. You gain an additional use of your Blood Maledict feature. In addition, your blood curses can target any creature whether it has blood or not. Aetherwalk, I think that's how you would pronounce that. Right?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. Aether.
Aether, yeah, that. Upon reaching 7th level, at the start of your turn, you can magically step into the veil between the planes as long as you aren't incapacitated. You can move through other creatures and objects as if they were as if they were difficult terrain, as well as see and affect creatures and objects on the ethereal plane. You take 1d10 force damage if you end your turn inside an object. This feature lasts for a number of rounds equal to your Hemocraft modifier, minimum of 1 round. If you are inside an object when it ends, you are immediately shunted to the nearest unoccupied space, and you take force damage equal to twice the number of feet you moved. Ooh. Once you use this feature, you must finish a short or long rest before you can use it again. You can use Aether Walk twice between rests starting at 15th level. Yeah, I like it. Brand of Sundering. Starting at 11th level, your Brand of Castigation exposes a fragment of your foe's essence, leaving them vulnerable to your Crimson Right feature. Whenever you hit a creature with a weapon for which you have an action... With a weapon for which you have an action...
Active.
Oh, an active. I was misreading it. I had a smudge on my screen. Oops. An active Crimson Right, you roll an additional Hemocraft die when determining the extra damage from the right. Additionally, if a branded creature has the incorporeal movement trait or a similar feature, it can't move through creatures or objects while branded. That's also very cool. Next one is Blood Curse of the Exorcist. At 15th level, you hone your Hemocraft to tear corruption from the minds and bodies of your allies and to punish those responsible for it. You gain the Blood Curse of the Exorcist for your Blood Maledict feature. This doesn't count against your number of Blood Curses known.
You make everyone puke pea soup.
Oh my god.
My whole stomach just turned.
That's horrible.
You're muted, Rob.
I said, yeah, I already went over Blood Curse of the Exorcist. It was in the list of the blood rights.
Gotcha. Well, you get that at 15th level. And then the last one is Right Revival. Upon reaching 18th level, you learn to protect your fading life by reabsorbing the energy you feed to your weapons. If you have one or more Crimson Rights active and you are reduced to 0 hit points but don't die outright, you can choose to have all of your active Crimson Rights in and drop to 1 hit point instead.
All right. I definitely think I like this as a class, and I like this as a subclass for it. It is definitely situational, I feel.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's right there in the name. This, this subclass would be awesome, like in the last couple fights that we've had in our games, like when you guys were fighting on the lake and you had to fight all the ghosts that were possessing people and things like that.
Yeah.
This would have been awesome against those. Not saying that they wouldn't do good against, your normal enemies like kobolds, goblins, orcs, whatever. But they do seem to have a little bit more of a
Niche?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts, Apple?
I mean, I kind of agree with you. It doesn't seem like overpowered. I don't know. It doesn't seem crazy. It seems like perfectly normal, but with a slight niche. Like, are we ranking it right now? Or
Yep.
I mean, I don't know, like a B plus. Like, it's perfectly fine. I think. Like, it doesn't seem like bad. It just doesn't seem like, oh my god,
Okay. Donnie, what about you? What are your thoughts and grading on this?
I'm gonna go with a B. And I'm gonna say that some of that is just because I thematically just like this class, period. I'm not super impressed, not disappointed mechanically.
Okay. Again, is it because it's that niche? It falls under a very specific.
Yeah, it's very
category.
neat. Yeah. I think
I can
when
see
it's
that.
needed, it's really good.
I could definitely see if a DM is sitting down saying, "Okay, hey, I'm going to run you guys through, the Curse of Strahd campaign, the module." I could see someone wanting to roll up one of these.
Oh hell yeah!
Especially if you have a heads up from your DM, like, oh yeah, there's the first arc or whatever, it's going to be very undead heavy, or this is kind of the overarching story, and then you guys can make your characters. I think with pre-warning, this class as a whole could be phenomenal. But without any type of warning as to what you're walking into, again, I think it falls a little short, in my opinion. Rob, what about you?
I would also give it a B, just because it would be super great against ghosts, but some of the abilities are kind of lackluster if they're against other things.
Right.
Because the incorporeal movement stopping, and then the exorcist ability to to get people unpossessed. It's like, okay, yeah, I mean, you can use that if creatures are frightened or charmed too, but like it's basically meant for ghost fighting. So if you don't run into a lot of ghosts, it's not as effective as it could be.
Yeah.
Born and raised in Ghost Tide.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I'm also gonna go with a B, only because I think I really enjoy this subclass and this class as a whole on a thematic scale. But yeah, I definitely think it's a bit too specific for a broad range game. So yeah, what's the average on that? It's going to be a B average.
Just a B, yeah.
All right, Rob, you can read us Order of the Lycans since you've played one.
Okay. So basically, the Order of the Lycan, you're cursed with lycanthropy. I mean, I went with the typical werewolf, but you could be a were-bear, or like a were-tiger, a were-boar, a were-rat are the ones that they give, but you could be a were-anything, really. But you get the same abilities no matter what type of were-creature you choose to be. So at 3rd level, you get heightened senses. When you choose an archetype at 3rd level, you gain the improved senses of a natural predator. You have advantage on wisdom perception checks that rely on hearing and smell. You also get hybrid transformation. At 3rd level, you learn to control the lycanthropic curse that courses through your veins. As a bonus action, you can transform into a special hybrid form for up to 1 hour. You can speak, use equipment, wear armor while in this form, and you can revert to your normal form as a bonus action. You automatically revert to your normal form if you fall unconscious or die. This feature replaces the rules for lycanthropy in the Master Manual, obviously, because those are very different. Once you use this feature, you must finish a short or long rest before you can use it again. So hybrid transformation features. While you are transformed, you gain the following benefits and drawbacks. Feral Might, you have advantage on strength checks and strength saving throws. You have a +1 bonus to melee damage rolls, as bonus increases to +2 at 11th level and +3 at 18th level. Resilient Hide, you have resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage from non-magical attacks, not made with silvered weapons. Additionally, when you are not wearing heavy armor, you have a +1 bonus to AC. Predatory Strikes. You can apply the Crimson Right feature to your unarmed strikes, which you treat as one weapon. You can use Dexterity instead of Strength for those attacks and damage rolls of your unarmed strikes, which deal 1d6 bludgeoning or slashing damage, your choice. This damage increases to 1d8 at 11th level. Additionally, when you use the attack action to make unarmed strikes, you can make 1 additional unarmed strike as a bonus action. Bloodlust. If you start your turn with fewer hit points than half your hit point maximum, you must succeed on a DC 8 Wisdom saving throw or move directly to the nearest creature and use the attack action against that creature. If you're concentrating on a spell or under the effect that prevents you from concentrating, such as the Barbarian's Rage feature, you automatically fail this saving throw. If you have the extra attack feature, you can choose whether to use it for this frenzied attack. If more than one creature is equally near you, roll randomly to determine your target. Once your attack is resolved, you regain control of your senses. At 7th level, you gain Stalker's Prowess. Your speed increases by 10 feet, and you add 10 feet to your long jump distance and 3 feet to your high jump distance. Your hybrid form also gains the following additional benefit. Improved Predatory Strike. You have a +1 bonus to attack rolls made with your unarmed strikes. This bonus increases to 2 at 11th level and 3 at 18th level. Additionally, when you have an active Crimson Right on your unarmed strike, while you are in hybrid form, your unarmed strikes are considered magical for the purposes of overcoming resistance to immunity and non-magical attacks. Advanced Transformation. At 11th level, you learn to unleash and control more of the beast within. You can use your hybrid transformation feature twice, regaining all expended uses when you finish a short or long rest. Your hybrid form also gains the following benefit, like and regeneration. At the start of each of your turns, when you have at least one hit point, but fewer than half your hit points maximum, you regain hit points equal to 1 plus your Constitution modifier, minimum of 1. If you are in hybrid form, you gain these hit points before you regain these hit points before you must make your saving throw for Bloodlust. 15th level, you gain Brand of the Voracious. At 15th level, you have advantage on saving throws for your Bloodlust while you are in hybrid form. Additionally, your Brand of Castigation can now bind a foe to your Hunter's Ferocity. While in your hybrid form, you have advantage on attack rolls against the creature you have branded. 18th level, Hybrid Transformation Mastery. You have mastered your Inner Predator. You can use the Hybrid Transformation feature an unlimited number of times, and your hybrid form lasts until you revert to your normal form, fall unconscious, or die. You also gain the Blood Curse of the Howl of the Blood Maledict feature. This doesn't count against your number of blood curses known.
So I like how at the beginning, under the hybrid transformation features, it says you gain the following benefits and drawbacks, and there's only one drawback.
Yeah. It's not even that difficult of a blood. It's an 8. It's a DC 8. And then further down, you get advantage on that as well.
Yeah, I feel like there should be additional drawbacks somewhere. Well, I mean, let's start with you, Rob. You've played this class. What are your thoughts on it?
I would give this an S. I mean, you saw how I messed up your Kraken with this.
I mean, yeah.
Because you get to do basically you have arm strikes like a freaking monk that also do extra damage from your Crimson Rights. And then if you castigate something, it takes damage if it attacks you back, and you get advantage on it. And then you also have regeneration, you have protection from piercing, slashing, bludgeoning. It's like, I don't know. I feel like this is an S tier. It's a little OP. I mean, I really like it, but I feel it is OP.
Alright, so Rob's giving it an S. Let's go with Donnie. Mr. Mute.
Sorry. Dog gets loud, I mute, then forget that I'm muted. I'm going to give it an A.
Okay. Thoughts on it?
I like it. I like the theme a lot, and I think it kind of sticks to the point with the mechanics as well.
Alright. Apple?
I think I'm also inclined to give it an A. Like, despite, because I've never seen a Blood Hunter in action, so I feel like I don't have the point of reference, but I do feel like or at least a lot of classes, you can, in subclasses, you can really do a lot of damage if you get lucky. Like, whenever Lotus did, literally knocked that guy out on the bar fight, in one fucking shot, because they did, 78 damage. It just happens sometimes. I didn't feel like it felt too overpowered, actually. I feel like it takes a while. And I know it's a subclass, but, I was kind of comparing it to, monk stuff, because that's, one of my main points of reference at the moment. And I feel like it takes a while to get some of your, attacks to be just a little bit stronger. You get a +2 at 11th level, and then a +3 at 18th. And it takes a long time to get to 18th level. I'm not at 18th level yet. So it feels like they're perfectly fine attacks, but it feels like they're stuck at a point for a while. So I don't think they seem crazy.
Keep in mind,
I mean,
that's just a +1 bonus and a +2 bonus at 11th level.
Yeah.
So if you had if you had a +2 weapon, then
but
at
that's
11th
for your
level you're getting a +4.
I thought it was for your unarmed strike though, not so you don't have so the improved predatory strike, you have +1 bonus to attack rolls made with your unarmed strike. You can't you don't just get bonuses to your unarmed strike,
that's
right?
If you're doing predatory strikes. The Feral Might is giving you the +2 bonus to the melee damage rolls. So that could be just a sword, any melee weapon.
Okay.
But I mean, it is just a bonus to the straight up damage aspect of it. Whereas a +2 weapon would give you a bonus to the the hit.
The
and
attack roll,
damage.
like the hit, yeah.
Yeah, so it's giving it. So basically, like if you activate a Crimson Right on whatever, like say it's a +2 weapon, you're at 11th level, you're getting a +2 from that, so that's +4 damage. Plus you get to roll your Hemocraft die, which at 11th level is an extra D8, plus whatever regular weapon damage it's doing. It's and then if
How
it
many-
attacks you back, you also do damage to it. It's just I don't know.
I don't recall how many of the Crimson Rights you get. So like at 11th level, how many would you have?
Well, it's you activate it on your weapons, and then it just stays there. I think it's like an hour.
Yeah.
Is it like a once per day kind of thing? I'm assuming.
I think you could do it twice per day.
I'm sure I could find it too if I needed to.
Use your weapon strikes with elemental energy. As a bonus action, you activate the right you know on a weapon you're holding. The effect lasts until you finish a short or long rest, so it just stays active until you rest. But then you get to choose, like basically you get to choose 3. So you could do either, like I chose fire, I chose frozen or storm. No, I chose frozen, I chose storm and oracle. So I could choose between, do I want to do cold damage today? Do I want to do lightning, or do I want to do psychic? And then it just stays until you take a rest. But you get to roll extra damage of that type, whatever your Hemocraft die is. I think at the time I was like 12th level or 13, somewhere around, whatever we were for the distractions game. So I get to roll an extra D8 of like psychic damage on top of regular damage, plus the extra damage from the transformation into the werewolf, and then you get to do an extra attack if you're just using your unarmed strikes, which your unarmed strikes also do a D8 of damage. So
yeah, I mean, definitely has a good damage output, I'll say.
So the Crimson Right sorry, my brain is like slow this evening. So like you would do your unarmed strike with 1d6, and then you would get to roll another 1d something of whatever you had applied to it?
yes.
Interesting.
Yeah. So with that, are you still sticking with the A?
Maybe an A+.
Okay. A+. Gee, for me...
Because, like, I will say, sorry,
no,
your unarmed strikes aren't magical until 7th level. I think that's what it was. So, like, depending on your... I feel like I had issues with, like, unarmed... Like, I haven't used any of my characters who have had claws, which is, like, most of them, which is not weird. That's just my choice. I tend to never use their unarmed strikes after, like, 4th, 5th level, sometimes ever, just because it's, like, always so much weaker than my weapon is. But...
Yeah,
the
but
magical
like
part.
if you're ever put into that situation where it's like, you know, you were arrested and your weapons were taken from you, then you at least have
something.
Weapons. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. That's oh yeah. I like that it's an option. But I was like, that was like my first thought at first. Whenever I didn't quite understand the Crimson Right, I was like, man, like I feel like I would never use the unarmed strike just because I haven't on most of my characters that have a decent unarmed strike.
Right.
That isn't like just your fists. But. That's interesting.
I'm also going to give this one an A. I have seen this one play, and I do think it's a little on the broken side as far as just the way it is. Again, I feel like maybe there should be at least 1 or 2 more drawbacks for going into your Lycan form, instead of just 1. And it's a super easy drawback to overcome.
Plus, if you're fighting melee, you're most likely going to end up bloodlusting on the thing you're fighting anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the only drawback is like if your party members are near you and they're all on the same distance, then you have that random chance of like hitting them instead.
I'm not sure as to what other drawbacks they could have added, but I definitely feel like there should be one.
It's almost the way they worded it. It almost seems like they intended there to be.
Right, like I thought there was going to be more, and then I was like, "Wait, these all seem positive."
Yeah, like like they wrote it in a plural sense, but there's only one drawback.
Yeah.
Instead, they should have just been like, "Yo, have all these benefits and this one drawback."
That probably will never affect you.
Yeah. All right, so that one overall, I think I gave it an A for its overall grade because there was an S, an A, an A, and an A plus. Is that the average? I don't know how to do averages.
S, A, and A plus would probably be an A plus.
Would be the closest, yeah.
Well, it's getting an A plus then. Busted ass fucking class.
Busted ass.
All right, Apple. Do you want mutant or profane soul?
Do you want to be last or do you want to be not last?
Sure, I'll go last. So you can do mutant.
Okay, I could have been last. I don't care. All right. Have we been reading the little splash text or not? I didn't think so. No. All right, so when you choose this archetype at 3rd level, you get mutagen craft. You learn to master forbidden alchemical formulas known as mutagens that can temporarily alter your mental and physical abilities. As a bonus action, you can consume a mutagen whose effects and side effects last until you finish a short or long rest, unless otherwise specified. While one or more mutagens are affecting you, you can choose to use an action to focus and flush all mutagens from your system, ending their effects and side effects. Mutagens are designed for the specific biology of the character who concocted them, and your mutagens have no effects on other creatures. They are also unstable by nature, losing their potency over time and becoming inert if not used before you finish your next short or long rest. So, at 3rd level, you can create 1, but you know up to 4 formulas. 7th, it ups to 2 that you can create, and you know 5. 11th, you can still create 2, but you know 6. 15th, it bumps up to 3, but you know 7. And at 18th, you still can create 3, but now you know 8 formulas. The formula is the number of mutagens you can concoct when you finish a rest, and the number of formulas you know increases as you gain levels in your Blood Hunter class, as shown on the table above that I just verbally said. Additionally, when you learn a new mutagen formula, you can replace one formula you already knew with a new one. You can choose 4 formulas to learn from the options detailed at the end of the subclass description, and you can concoct 1 mutagen when you finish a short or long rest. When you reach 7th level, you get strange metabolism. Your body begins to adapt to toxins and venoms, ignoring their corrupting effects. You gain immunity to poison damage and the poisoned condition. Additionally, you can trigger a burst of adrenaline that lets you temporarily resist the negative effect of a mutagen. As a bonus action, you can ignore the negative side effect of one mutagen affecting you for 1 minute. Once you do so, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest. At 11th level, you get Brand of Axiom. Your mutagenic hemocraft lets your brand of castigation reveal a foe's true nature. Any illusion or invisibility in effect on a creature when you brand it ends, and the creature can't benefit from invisibility or illusion effects while branded by you. If a creature branded by you is in an alternative form, like polymorph, change shape, or the wild shape feature, etc., it must succeed on a wisdom save throw or revert to its true form and be stunned until the end of your next turn. Whenever a branded creature attempts to alter its form, it must save on a wiz saving throw or have the attempt fail, and it's stunned until the end of your next turn again.
Oh man!
Starting at 15. This is a lot.
Imagine you guys like brand Chandra, just
oh my god!
And she fails her save, and just boom! All of a sudden, ancient green dragon in the middle of Mid Gulch.
That's like. I'll share my thoughts for the end. Starting at 15th level, you get Blood Curse of Corrosion. Your blood curse can infuse a creature's body with terrible toxins. You gain the Blood Curse of Corrosion for your Blood Maledict feature. This doesn't count against your number of blood curses. No. And then at 18th level, you get Exalted Mutation. Your body has adapted to produce mutagens naturally in a moment of need. As a bonus action, choose one mutagen currently affecting you. Its effects, so instead of an action, which was the previous one, its effect and side effects end, and you can immediately have a mutagen you know the formula for take its place. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your Hemocraft modifier, which is a minimum of 1, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. So there's a lot of mutagens here. I'll kind of briefly talk about them. So let's see. The mutagens are part of your Hemocraft are presented in alphabetical order. You can learn a mutagen at the same time that you meet its prerequisites. So some of them have a prerequisite of 11th level. There's one that has one at 7th level, but the rest of them seem to be default. So Aether, for example, is 11th level. You get a flying speed of 20 feet for an hour, but you get disadvantage on strength checks and dex checks. There's one called Alluring that makes your skin and voice become malleable, allowing you to enhance your appearance and presence. You have advantage on charisma checks, however, you have disadvantage on initiative rolls. Should I read all of these? I could.
Yeah.
Alright. So, the next one is Clarity. Your dex score increases by 3, as does your maximum for that score. However, you have disadvantage on Wisdom saving throws, and your dex score and maximum increase by 4 if you consume it at 11th level, and by 5 at 18th level. Jesus Christ, Webby, imagine... And this isn't... Like, if you had a 5 already in dex, you could increase it by 5.
Yeah.
That's a lot. Conservant, you have advantage on intelligence checks, however you have disadvantage on wisdom checks. Sorry, go ahead.
It's your score that increases, not your...
Yeah.
True.
So even if you had like a
That's
20...
still like...
So it could be 23, it would still only be... Yeah, well, 25, yeah.
It's the 25 that's like, wow, in my opinion. That's like, I don't know, that's a lot. So Cruelty has a prerequisite of 11th level, so you can't get this one before then. When you use the attack action, you can make one additional weapon attack as a bonus action. However, you have disadvantage on intelligence, wisdom, and charisma saving throws. That's the next one is deftness. You have advantage on dex checks, however, you have disadvantage on wisdom. The next one is Embers. You have resistance to fire damage and vulnerability to cold damage. And then the opposite, which is Gelid, you have resistance to cold damage and vulnerability to fire damage. Then you have Impermeable, you have resistance to piercing damage and vulnerability to slashing. Mobility, you have immunity to the grappled and restrained conditions. However, you have a disadvantage on strength checks. At 11th level, you are also immune to the paralyzed condition. Night Eye, you have dark vision of a range of 60 feet. If you already have dark vision, its range increases by 60 feet. However, you have disadvantage on attack rolls and perception checks that rely on sight when you, the target of your attack, or whatever you're trying to perceive, is in direct sunlight. That's kind of cool. Percipient, you have advantage on wisdom checks, but disadvantage on charisma. Potency, your strength score increases by 3, as does your maximum for that score. However, you have disadvantage on dexterity saving throws. Your strength score and maximum increase by 4 if at 11th, and by 5 at 18th. Precision, which is a prereq of 11th level. Your weapon attacks score a critical hit on a roll of 19 or 20. However, you have disadvantage on strength saving throws. Rapidity, you have a speed increases by 10 feet. However, you have disadvantage on intelligence checks. And at 15th level, your speed increases by an additional 5 for a total of 15. Reconstruction, which has a prereq of 7th. For 1 hour at the start of each of your turns, you have at least 1 hit point, but fewer hit points than half your hit point maximum? Oh, I'm confused. You regain
like
hit
1
points.
and a half, yeah.
So as long as you have at least 1 hit point, but no more than half your hit points, you regain HP equal to your proficiency bonus. However, your speed is reduced by 10 feet during this time. Sagacity? Your intelligence
I'm not gonna
score-
lie, I read that as Sega City.
Saga City was a close choice, but I just knew it wasn't that. Your intelligence score increases by 3, as does your max for that score. However, you have disadvantage on charisma. Your intelligence score and your max increase by 4 if at 11th, and 5 at 18th. Shielded, you have resistance to slashing damage, but have vulnerability to bludgeoning. Unbreakable, you have resistance to bludgeoning, but you have vulnerability to piercing. Vermilion, you gain an additional use of your Blood Maledict feature. However, you have disadvantage on death saving throws. So, at first, this one seemed like it had a lot, because, like, the fact that, like, at 7th level, you're immune to poison, like, that seemed like a lot. But, like, I like the downsides of the mutagens. I like that you have to think about the pro and the con. Like, that just,
So this
I
is
like
like
that a
the
lot.
all you gain benefits and disadvantages. Unless
except
This is
there's
the
more than
properly
one
done
single disadvantage of Lycan.
versus you get 3 pros and 1 con versus this one, which is like a pro and a con.
Also, I was thinking for Lycan, because it lets you choose between intelligence or wisdom as your Hemocraft ability. So if you choose wisdom, the DC is only 8. So say you rolled high and you got a +5 to your wisdom. And then you choose human, where you get a feat, and you can choose to get that hardy or tenacious or whatever it is, where it gives you an extra ability score that you're
Thank you.
proficient in, an extra saving throw you're proficient in, and you choose wisdom. So at first level, if you had a 5 for wisdom and the 2, so it would be +6, or no, it would be +7. So even if you rolled a 1, you get an 8, which beats the freaking DC for your frenzy. So you would never even frenzy from level 1.
If it's a crit 1, would it still fail?
Crit 1s only count in... If you beat the
In the
DC
hits.
even with a crit 1, it still counts. It's only... It's only attacks where they always miss or always hit.
And this
You
is
know, that
probably,
DC of 8 was really low. Like, I
This
feel
is-
like...
it's probably the exact reason why they don't allow you to multi-class into other subclasses of the same class.
Yep. But yeah, like, I kind of think, and this is just going back to Lycan, I'm thinking it's more broken as we talk about it more, that, like, maybe the DC should have increased as you got higher level. Because if it stays at an 8 the whole time, even by, like, that's, like, a really easy DC, just every level you get higher, potentially. Like, I don't know, it just seems that way.
You know, I would have even done something like make the base DC 8, but then give it a +1 to the DC for each creature within, like, 30 feet of you.
Ooh, yeah.
So the more people around you, the more bloodthirsty you are. You know?
Yeah. Okay, but order the mutant.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to this, and there's a lot of downsides, but, I mean, one of the things that you read before the mutagens allows you to ignore the downsides to them for up to a minute, which generally is like the length of
whole
combat.
fight.
Yeah, it's pretty much the length of combat. Man, I mean, that's a lot of options, though, to use.
Plus, at 7th level, you can only have 2 of those active at a time, which is, like, that's still a lot. And you can only, so keep in mind for people listening, in case you're also ranking this in your head, you can also only know 5 of these. So it's kind of like, you know, these are all your spells, but you can only know 5 of them. Like, you can't know all of these at once.
Right.
Well,
But yeah, the fact that you can ignore the negative side effect. Sorry, go
you
ahead.
could eventually know 8 at your max level. But
Yeah.
And there's more. There's 1, 2, 11, 12, 13,
and you
14,
can
15, 16,
only
17.
have up to 3 affecting you at a time, no matter how many you know.
Yep, and there's 20 total. Well, the only thing that stinks is, like, and this is how I just feel, is like there was another race that I felt, or there was another thing I think I felt this way about that was like a subclass or something, but like the fact that when you reach 18th level, it's kind of implied, at least from the way I understand things, that you can no longer change those out because you've reached your last, like, level cap. Because it's like, oh, when you level up and no more, you can swap it. But, like, nope, now you're stuck with those 8, so you'd have to, like, really think about which 8 you want.
Yeah, but also, by the time you're 18th level and you've played around with this class enough, you probably know exactly which ones you want.
True.
You know, depending on how your play style. Like, if you're playing a very, like, strength or dex-based character, you probably aren't going to want the one that gives you intelligence. Although you might. Who knows? But, alright, so let's start with you, Apple. You read it. What do you think about this class? Or this subclass, I should say. And what is your score for it?
I mean, it feels pretty, like, tough, I guess, or like not tough in a way, like tough that it is a tough person. And this is just like from, like, we were talking recently about, like, I was like, hey, have there been any super broken homebrews you've seen before? And you were like, I wouldn't give immunity to a player, like, that early on.
Yeah.
And, like, so that, like, stuck with me. Like, at 7th level, you're immune to poison, so, like, imagine you're going to fight a fucking black dragon. Like, huh? Wait, that's acid, isn't it? Is that poison or acid?
A black dragon is... acid.
Ah, damn it. Green dragon?
Poison.
There we go. I tried. And the fact that as a bonus action, you can get rid of that negative side effect, so, like, you're like, oh, you can just, like, fucking increase your dex score by 5 for the duration of the battle, and maybe that's what your weapons are based on. And you can just ignore the fact that you have disadvantage on wisdom saving throws. Like, I think it's I'll say S-.
Okay.
I don't know, it seems kind of in the way that you can just, like, fucking like stamp someone and be like, oh, you can't turn invisible, oh, you can't polymorph, oh, you can't wild shape, oh. And then they're stunned. I don't know, that just seems...
So you think
seems
this
nice.
this subclass is more powerful than the Lycan one?
I kind of want to change my Lycan score, and that's the problem. So maybe I'll just say Ape.
If you
I
want,
feel
you
like-
can change your Lycan score.
I feel like... I kind of feel like Lycan's S tier now.
All right. Just a regular S?
Yeah. Like this one doesn't feel as broken as Lycan, but it feels maybe I don't know. It just feels powerful to me.
Well, what does an SSAA give me for an average?
S minus, A
Either
plus,
S minus or A plus. It's still
A
in the
plus
same
plus,
area.
S minus minus.
S minus minus. All right, so you're giving this one an S minus.
Yes.
Let's go with Donnie. What's your thoughts on this one?
Starting to see a theme that these are just all around strong no matter the subclass, but I'm going to say this is like a high A.
All right,
S to me just has to be something broken. I don't think it's broken, I just think it's really strong.
That's fair.
A
That's
plus
totally
for
fair.
you. Does that sound right? A plus?
Yep.
All right. Rob, what about you?
I will also give it an A plus. Because for one thing, yeah, an immunity to a damage type that early is somewhat broken, especially since poison is one of the most common
Yeah, that's a good one to have.
damages. And the fact that you can remove the negative side effects for 1 minute, but you could still be affected by that, like out of combat or just before combat begins. So
Mm-hmm.
I'll give it an A plus. I'm leaning towards S minus too, but I'll give it A plus.
Now, the removal of the negative side effects, that's only of one of the ones affecting you, correct?
That's what it says. Yeah.
And how many can you have affecting you at a time?
By 15th level, you can have 3.
Yeah, in the middle, it's 1 at 3rd level, 7th to 11th, 7th to 15th, it's 2.
All right,
And
so
then
like
15th
if
to
you
18th
took
is 3.
one and then you drank another one, it doesn't overwrite the first one; they just stack.
Once you have the ability to do more than one, yeah.
Yeah.
Because you can use an action to fully get rid of a mutagen, and then later you can do it as a bonus action, and then immediately gain a new one. But yeah, so the mutagens created is like how many you can have active in you at a time.
Yeah. See, I'm gonna give it. I think I'm gonna give it an A. It is very strong. The fact that you can shut down the drawbacks of one of these mutagens for up to a minute, like we said, and that's mainly a combat, situation, because very rarely do combats last 10 rounds. But like some of these mutagens, the drawbacks seem more severe than the benefit. Mainly like you're gaining resistance to a slashing damage, but then you have vulnerability to bludgeoning damage. Okay, so you're gaining resistance, so you're taking half damage from slashing attacks, which is fine if you're fighting stuff that has slashing attacks. But now bludgeoning damage, you're taking double damage from anything that has bludgeoning damage. So like if you're fighting a dragon, its claws do slashing attacks, but its tail does bludgeoning attacks. So I don't know, like when you start getting into like giving yourselves a vulnerability in damage types, that can get sketchy. Especially if you don't necessarily know what you're about to fight, or if there are like hidden enemies and stuff. So if I were to do like the removal of a negative side effect, it would be probably for one of those types of aspects. Which then kind of throws you under the bus if you're going to go with like, oh, well, I'm going to increase my dex score by 3, but then I have disadvantage on all wisdom saves. So I do think it is somewhat balanced, but some of those negative side effects I think are just pretty rough, I'll say. So I'm going to give it a regular A, which I think still evens out to be an A+.
Yes.
Damn, so far, I mean, we've gotten technically 2 A pluses and a B out of the 4 orders that we're going to be reading through today.
Yeah,
like this
I
is
think
a very
that's yeah.
I will say the second you started reading that one, Apple, it just reminded me of The Witcher.
That's all I've been thinking the whole time. I'm
Yeah.
like, which one's which? Oh, this one? Okay, that's the fighter. This one over here, that's the one that drinks the potions.
Yeah. All right. So lastly, we have Order of the Profane Soul. Otherworldly patron. When you reach 3rd level, you strike a bargain with an otherworldly being of your choice. The Archfey, the Fiend, or the Great Old One, detailed in the player's handbook. The Undying, from the Sword Coast Adventurer's Guide. The Celestial or Hexblade, from Xanathar's Guide to Everything. The Fathomless, or the Genie, from Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. Or the Undead, from Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft. The choice you make augments some of your subclass features as noted below. So this is just a... Why did I make myself read this one? I'm getting
I was
unhinged.
thinking it.
I'm getting unhinged now.
This is the Blood Hunter.
This is the Blood Hunter Warlock. I hate it. At least it's not literally taking 2 levels into Warlock. You just are a Warlock.
This is a lot to read. Have fun.
Pact Magic. At 3rd level, you augment your combat techniques with the ability to cast spells. See Chapter 10 in the Player's Handbook for the general rules of spellcasting. Okay, cantrips. You learn 2 cantrips of your choice from the Warlock spell list, i.e. Eldritch Blast and Eldritch Blast. You learn an additional Warlock cantrip of your choice at 10th level, Eldritch Blast. That's all you need. That's anything ever. Spell slots. The Profane Soul spellcasting table shows how many spell slots you have. The table also shows what level of those slots is. I don't like the way that was typed.
Table. Mine says the table also shows what the level of those slots is. I don't know what you're.
Yeah, it just didn't make sense in my head, I guess. All of your spell slots are the same level. To cast one of your Warlock spells of 1st level or higher, you must expend a spell slot. You regain all expended spell slots when you finish a short or long rest. Spells known of 1st... This is all spellcasting stuff, which you can read in the PHP. You're essentially just a Warlock spellcaster.
Yeah, it's exactly like a Warlock spellcaster, because you get 2 slots. This only goes up to level 4, whereas regular Warlocks can go up to level 5. But that's basically the big difference.
Yeah. So we'll skip over that table. Let's go to Right Focus, starting at 3rd level. Your weapon becomes a conduit for the power of your pact with your chosen patron. While you have an active Crimson Right, you can use your weapon as a spellcasting focus for your Warlock spells, and you gain a specific benefit based on your chosen pact. The Archfey, when you damage a creature with a weapon for which you have an active Crimson Right, the creature glows with faint light until the end of your next turn. For the duration, the creature gains no benefit from any cover or from being invisible. So it's like a half-assed fairy fire. The Celestial, as a bonus action, you expend 1 use of your Blood Maledict feature to heal 1 creature you can see within 60 feet of you. The creature regains a number of hit points equal to 1 roll of your Hemocraft die plus your Hemocraft modifier, minimum of +1. So that's like a possibly amplified healing word. The Fathomless, you can breathe underwater. I wish it just ended there. You can also speak to fish. Okay, you're Aquaman. The Fathomless, you can breathe underwater. Additionally, once per turn, when you damage a creature with a weapon for which you have an active Crimson Right, you can reduce that creature's speed by 10 feet until the start of your next turn. The Fiend, while using the Right of the Flame, if you roll a 1 or 2 on the damage die, when you roll the extra damage from the right, you can re-roll the die and choose which roll to use. The Genie, as a bonus action, you expend a use of your Blood Maledict feature to give yourself a flying speed of 30 feet, which lasts for a number of rounds equal to your Hemocraft modifier, minimum of 1 round. The Great Old One. When you score a critical hit against a creature, that creature and any other creature of your choice within 10 feet of it are frightened of you until the end of your next turn. Wow, there's not even a save in that one. The Hexblade. When you successfully target a creature with a blood curse, the next time you hit that creature with an attack while the curse is in effect, the attack deals additional damage equal to your proficiency modifier. The Undead. When you take necrotic damage, you can use your reaction to halve that damage. In addition, your appearance changes to reflect some aspect of your patron while you have any Crimson Rite active. And the Undying, when you reduce a hostile creature of at least mild threat to the DM's discretion to 0 hit points, you regain a number of hit points equal to 1 roll of your Hemocraft die. I love how they had to start putting in that, like, you have to, when you kill a creature of at least mild threats, because you know some asshat out there was like, I kill a squirrel.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's what I was thinking.
You know, oh, there's a rabbit here, I killed this rabbit. Mystic Frenzy, starting at 7th level, when you use your action to cast a cantrip, Eldritch Blast, you can immediately make 1 weapon attack as a bonus action. Revealed Arcana, at 7th level, your patron grants you the use of a distinctive spell based on your pact. You cast this spell using any pact magic spell slot. You can't do so again until you finish a long rest. The Archfey, you learn Blur. The Celestial, Lesser Restoration. The Fathomless, Gust of Wind. The Fiend, Scorching Ray. The Genie, Phantasmal Force. The Great Old One, Detect Thoughts. The Hexblade, Branding Smite. The Undead, Blindness, Deafness. And the Undying, Silence. Oy, oy, oy. The brand of the Sapping Scar. Upon reaching 11th level, your brand of castigation feature digs dark arcane scars into your target, leaving them vulnerable to your magic. A creature branded by you has disadvantage on saving throws against your warlock spells. Unsealed Arcana. At 15th level, your patron grants you the use of an additional spell based on your pact. You cast this spell without expending a spell slot. You can't do so again until you finish a long rest. Archfey, you can cast Slow. The Celestial, Revivify. The Fathomless, Lightning Bolt. The Fiend, Fireball. The Genie, Protection from Energy. The Great Old One, Haste. The Hexblade, Blink. The Undead, Speak with Dead. And the Undying, Bestow Curse. And then lastly, Blood Curse of the Soul Eater. Starting at 18th level, you learn to siphon the life energy from fallen prey. You gain the Blood Curse of the Soul Eater for your Blood Maledict feature. This doesn't count against your number of Blood Curses known. This literally is just, hey, you wanted to play Warlock, but
You chose
Didn't
Blood
wanna
Hunter. You're like, man, I don't want people to laugh at me for choosing Warlock. I'm gonna
No.
choose Blood Hunter and then choose Order of the Profane Soul.
Donnie, Apple, have you ever played a Warlock? No?
No.
Okay.
I was about to say you've been in every game I've ever played
I
in.
know, I had to think
Technically,
about
I've played in one game without you. So
Yeah, I had to think about it. I also don't remember what you played in Lex's Halloween thing.
no, I know we played a different set. We didn't play D&D. We played like something else, and I was like basically a firebender.
Gotcha. Rob, have you played a Warlock?
I have not.
And Donnie, you have.
Yes, and I love it.
Now, Donnie.
I've never even played a wizard.
Guys,
That's a whole separate problem between you and Donnie.
yes, we'll talk later.
Donnie.
Yeah?
Having played a Warlock, and me having read this subclass for the Blood Hunter, what are some things that at least stand out to you in this subclass? Like, why would you choose to be a Order of the Profane Soul Blood Hunter versus just being a Warlock?
I mean, I guess you're kind of just adding the Warlock class to a Blood Hunter. I mean, that's what it kind of feels like. It's not, I mean, it's Warlock Light. We'll call it Warlock Light. I love the spell list. I love the spell list. Like all the spells on all these lists that they're getting, I'm a fan of. I think it just makes a strong class stronger. I mean, I don't think it hurts it at all.
Yeah, I mean, I think the appeal would be because of the Blood Hunter's normal abilities that you wouldn't get as a normal Warlock.
Yeah.
So you get to be a Warlock,
True.
plus you get like all the blood curses and the blood magic, along with that come with the Blood Hunter. What was the Soul Eater one? I can't remember what that blood curse was. Look it up real quick. Oh, Soul Eater. When a creature that isn't a construct or undead is reduced to 0 hit points within 30 feet of you, can use your reaction to offer their life energy to their patron in exchange for power. Until the end of your next turn, you make attacks with advantage and have resistance to all damage. Oh, that's pretty powerful.
Yeah.
And then with the Amplified by Blood Magic, you regain an expended Warlock spell slot. So,
I mean, I feel like that's good for any type of Warlock.
hmm.
I mean, they already get theirs back on a short rest anyway, but they get so limited number of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything that gives you an extra spell.
And I
Like
do
slot,
like
I
how
mean.
the spell-specific ones, at least for your Unsealed Arcana at 15th level, they allow you one use per long rest of that particular spell without using a spell slot. So that's kind of neat. I don't know. I'm not. I don't want this to sound like it's my personal bias, but I think this is going to be the lowest scored subclass, in my opinion. But let's get into that. Rob, what are your thoughts?
I would say a B plus. The reason is because this is basically like I'm tired of regular Warlock. I want Warlock with more blood curses, basically.
Okay. Apple, what about you?
I think it's like I don't know, like an A minus. I think it gives you some like cool because the Blood Hunter has some innate spell abilities already, right?
Not really. I mean, if you mean the curses, yeah. I mean, those are technically like spells.
Right. So I mean, it gives you a little bit of. It's like instead of having to take like a feat to learn some magic, you get your subclass which you learn like some additional magic. Well, I think that's pretty cool, but I don't think it makes it like any sort of like broken because like I don't know, it doesn't seem like that. It adds some fun stuff, but I don't know, seems fine. Seems good, but not like crazy.
So
Yeah,
A minus from you.
Yeah.
It feels almost like they're like, oh, most other classes with their subclasses have some kind of spell casting, like the Arcane Trickster and the Arcane Knight or whatever. It's like, let's give the Blood Hunter one where they can actually get spell slots, but what works good with it? Oh, Warlock. That's what it feels like.
What works good with everything? Warlock. That's why Webby hates it.
That's exactly what triggered me at the beginning of this. All right, Donnie, what's your grade on this one?
A minus.
God damn.
I mean, like you got a strong baseline. Adding spellcasting to it can only make it better, and I like the spell list.
Now remember, Webby, this isn't
I know.
multi-classing into Warlock.
I know. I'm really trying to keep them separated in my mind.
This is like them discovering peanut butter and jelly. Like,
what if you picked this and then you also multi-classed into Warlock? Like, what would happen?
I don't think there's a point at that point.
Yeah, that's why I'm confused. I think it said something about that at the top. Hold on,
there's a
let me see.
multi-classing section.
I don't know if there's anything that
Multi-classing with Warlock. If your Blood Hunter is part of the Order of the Profane Soul and also has Warlock levels, Add 1/3 of your Blood Hunter levels rounded down to your Warlock level and consult the Warlock progression table in the player's handbook for total spell slots, cantrips known, and spell slot level. You should consider aligning your Otherworldly Patron feature between both classes, but your DM may allow you to have a different patron at their discretion. You didn't have 2 different opposing
Yeah, I was gonna say, dude,
patrons?
imagine having like your Blood Hunter is an Archfey patron, but then your couple level dip into Warlock, you take like the Genie. It's like, well, I don't know. See, that just as a DM, I cringe at the thought of that. I don't know. I hate everything about this subclass. It is solid as a subclass mechanically. Thematically, I suppose it fits. I'm going to have to give this one a split grade as far as what I'm actually going to grade it and what I want to grade it. I'm going to give it a B+. I don't think it's as good as the other subclasses that we've read about so far. Actually, you know what? I'm going to give it a B. I'm going to tie it with the Ghost Hunter one. As a DM and as me personally, I want to give it an F. I do. I don't like it. I don't like it, and if any of you guys ever play in another game and you make one of these and I DM for you, you're gonna have a real rough time. I'm gonna make your life live in hell. You might not survive to see these high level aspect powers or whatever. All right, A-, a B+, and a B. Probably A- still, or B+.
It'd be in between, really. So you could go with A- since there were 2 of them.
All right, A-.
You know what, Apple? I think maybe Spectre needs some levels in Warlock.
No, Spectre doesn't like
Everybody needs
magic.
levels in Warlock. Everybody needs
No.
levels in Warlock.
Spectre's not interested in magic.
Maybe we can convince Liz to take some.
You knew Spectre wasn't interested in magic. This is not a new development.
Yeah, well, you're still my new favorite character now.
Maybe I can convince Liz to take some levels in Warlock.
She's already a multi-class sorcerer wizard.
Yeah. And then she also needs Bard and Warlock, and then she'll have the...
That doesn't sound like a great name.
And Druid and Cleric.
There's a thematic reason why Liz went... I think she only went 2 levels into Wizard.
Uh-huh.
It was... She went the special school... I think it's Evocation? I don't remember now. It's the one where she can pretty much fireball and say that she doesn't want to hit her allies.
Yeah.
So it'll hit everything in that 20-foot range except for the people she designates.
You talking about the meta magic?
No, it's a wizard thing. It's one of the
wizard schools.
Oh.
Maybe it's abjuration. I don't remember. But she essentially gets to shape her spells so she can avoid hitting allies. All right. Well, I mean, that's all of the subclasses. Based off of this list, Order of the Lycans, the most powerful, followed closely by Order of the Mutant, and then apparently Order of the Profane Soul, and then Order of the Ghost Hunter was last with a B. A B was the lowest we could get was a B. Really? Fighter, we had a D. Well, Druid did pretty good. Druid, the lowest was also a B-. And then Monk, D+, and yeah, that's it. All right. Fucking blood hunters. I hate them.
You're just angry because there was a warlock in there.
I am. I'm angry because there was one with a warlock, and then you
And you
played a
volunteered to read
Lycan,
it.
and you pretty much one-shot my Kraken. Actually, you made it where the Kraken pretty much killed itself.
Yeah, because it's you and anyone within 5 feet, and we were like, I was in between, so every time you attacked anybody, you got damaged.
Alright, so those were the orders of the Blood Hunters. We're at the hour and 20 mark, so we'll end it there.
And you thought this was going to be tacked on to another episode.
Yeah, well, I didn't realize the last 2 of those, there was a lot of reading involved. I will say, though, I don't remember which one it was that I was in charge of reading last week, but I may have been on an edible gummy when I was reading it, and it literally felt like I was reading forever.
I know that feeling. I won't tell you it's from experience every time we do this, but
Well, man, I remember reading, like, I remember stopping midway through, and I'm like, whew, there's a lot of reading, and I'm only like 2 paragraphs down. It's like,
when I was reading what they get for just being a blood hunter, I was like, oh my god, there's so much stuff.
That was a lot.
Yeah.
Welcome to the episode of reading. This is an audiobook.
Yeah. All right. Do we have a science corner with Rob this week?
Yeah. I read an article about a theoretical engine that they just are investigating that could potentially accelerate a ship to 99% the speed of light without any propellant.
Wait, what?
hyperdrive, Rob.
Yeah, technically.
Basically, almost the speed of light, which is a speed we have not been able to achieve yet.
Yeah, it's called the helical engine. It's only theoretical currently, but it uses because as you approach the speed of light, the mass of something increases as it approaches that speed. So they're basically, the engine would use that change in mass to propel itself really, really fast up to, and then continue to do it. The only prohibitive things about it is one, well, it still needs to be, like, it's just theoretical, like mathematicians and stuff still need to like check it out and work on it, but it would need an incredible amount of energy to get it started, which is kind of prohibitive, and it also would need to be very large. So,
wait, is this that slingshot thing that I just read about?
not a slingshot. It's basically like it almost looks like a coil, but it's like solid. Like each coil loop is solid.
Yeah, and then they have like the rocket ship or whatever inside going around in circles a bunch.
Well, not the rocket ship, but yeah, the propulsion, which would be what was it?
And then they just fucking shoot it into the atmosphere to save on fuel costs.
I don't think that doesn't sound like what Rob was describing.
Oh, I'm gonna have to look into this then.
I mean, it works by electromagnets. It's basically like it does electromagnets and causes the particle. I don't remember what the particles are called, but it causes them to spin inside the engine.
Particle accelerator.
And the faster they go, the faster the ship will go. But then as the ship starts to travel, its mass changes as it gets faster, so then they're using that change to like make it continue to go faster and faster and faster until it can get almost up to the speed of light. So I put down notes, if we could get it working, people could get from Earth to the Moon in 1.3 seconds.
Jesus.
From Earth to Mars in 12.5 minutes, and from Earth to Neptune in 4 hours.
Question.
Mm-hmm.
How in the world can a human being survive that?
Yeah, I don't...
That's part of the science they have to figure out. They have to figure out, like, if you watch Star Trek, I went to a Star Trek, like, science night at my local science center, and a scientist was there, and he was talking about how a lot of, like, developments we've made has come from science fiction, because a nerd scientist went, I want to make that real, and then they did. So, like, it's going to take us a while to figure it out, but the theory would be some sort of, like, ability to hold humans. It's like how figuring out like a gravity chamber where people can actually use gravity in space, because right now we just like float around. So like it'd probably come in part with that as a way to like stabilize humans as the jump happens. Like, but I don't think it'd work at the moment. Like you would just get obliterated.
Yeah. Just the sheer G-force on it. Yeah.
I mean, you see the way that they shake around on the Enterprise whenever they're in the...
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, but, hyperdrives from Star Wars, if anybody was wondering.
Or, particle accelerators from the Flash.
Or flux
So it says...
Flux
Or
capacitors.
the warp core.
Yeah.
The warp core from Star Trek. Okay.
Yeah.
We just throwing out all the fandoms here.
So it says specifically, the engine accelerates ions confined in a loop to moderate relativistic speeds, and then varies their velocity to make slight changes to their mass. The engine then moves the ions back and forth along the direction of travel to produce thrust. So that's why it wouldn't take any fuel.
Huh.
But in order to get it going, you have to generate 1.65 megawatts of energy to produce 1 Newton of thrust to get it started. So basically you'd have to have a power plant on this engine just to get it going.
1.1 gigawatts.
But once you got it going, that's all you needed.
All right. So that's our science corner for the week then.
Yep.
I have, let's see. Donnie, give me a number 1 through 25. I will do life advice with Webby since Devin's not here.
21.
21. When you quit, you fail. The surest way to lose at any endeavor is to quit. But fatigue, discomfort, and discouragement are merely symptoms of effort. There you go. Life advice with Devin minus Devin.
You guys need an applause button.
You need a sound effects board for SU.
Yeah. All right. So with that being said, let's see.
Did you just send me a thing about viruses causing the jackalope? That's
Who?
Apple.
Oh.
Yeah.
Let's see. Donnie, no, you know what? I ask you this all the time. You always throw my name out there, so you can't find Donnie anywhere on the internet. If you want to send Donnie any messages, message me, and I will relay the message for him. And
he'll never
it's going to be terribly messed
anyway.
up by the way he gets it, by the time he gets it, too. Because it's going to be a whole game of telephone up in my noggin, and it's going to come out completely wrong when I tell Donnie.
Yeah, everybody do that.
If you want to find Donnie on Discord, it's dbronner21 #808140. So there you go. Send him a friend request on
Good luck with that.
Boy. Here we go. All right, Apple, where can people find you on the internet if they want to reach out and say hi?
Twitch.tv/Appleschloss.
All right. And Rob, what about you?
You can find me on Twitter at Confessor_X and on Twitch at twitch.tv/ConfessorX.
And as always, you guys can follow me on Twitter at JaxForestWalker, all one word, on Twitch at DMWebby, and on eBay at Looking for Devin, because I miss him. Thank you for listening, everybody, and fuck Booster Gold.
FUG. So next Science Corner, we're going to talk about jackalopes, everybody. Prepare yourselves.
Is that the rabbits with the antlers?
Uh-huh.
Nice.
I don't know. I'm feeling a little ripped off right now, guys.
What?
Feeling a little ripped off. Webby knows what he did to me just now. He knows.
I'm not letting you use my name underneath, throw me under the bus like that. No.
Yeah, but you just told them to get a hold of you to get a hold of me, so why not just keep...
Well, listen, I didn't think this through!
That's what he does anyways.
Don't touch me!
If you want to get a hold of him, you have to use carrier pigeon, and that's on you.
Yep.